Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Life and Love, where we talk about life, we talk about love, and we try to understand what is the energy behind these two words of life and love, and how we can live in harmony with one another in life through love. Last time we talked about attachment and identification, and this is the part two of the talk, because I believe that in the part one we just have introduced what is attachment, what is identification, and what are the main attachment and identification which we need to remove in order for us to be free. In this video, I'd like to come back to only two statements, and from there we'll discuss a little bit more in depth regarding these two. So one is Saint Anthony the Great.
Evil is a passion found in matter. And so it is not possible for a body to come into being free from evil. The intelligent soul, grasping this, strives to free itself from the evil burden of matter, and when it is free from this burden, it comes to know the God of all, and keeps watch on the body as being an enemy and does not yield to it. Then the soul is crowned by God for having conquered the passions of evil and of matter. Saint Anthony the Great.
So here Saint Anthony the Great is pointing out that evil is matter. And maybe for some it's very hard to understand how come all matter is evil. It's not evil in the sense that it's bad. It's evil in the sense that it doesn't give you freedom to connect to that reality which makes and which manifests matter. So even thinking, it is matter. Thought, it's matter. It's proven by science now that it's matter. And you can perceive this by looking around what thought has done in the last 5,000 years. The evolution of humanity has been given impulse by thought. Thought has constructed the infrastructure of society which we see today. All the comforts which are given to us have been because of thought, because of thinking and reason. So thought is matter, and it has link with the matter in order to project matter and construct matter and mold matter in different forms. So Saint Anthony is pointing out that unless we detach from matter, we can never find a reality which gives energy to matter to evolve, to manifest. So we need to look at that in our own lives, how we project our own actual lives through desiring something. Then thought comes into being, takes the desire, and the stronger the desire is, the more likely is that that desire will be manifested by thought, by our will to acquire it. In that, attachment comes, because we know that that desire will produce some kind of satisfaction, some kind of happiness to us. So we're always prone in life to be attached by things which give us satisfaction, and we always run from and have aversion to things which give us pain. This is a natural in us because it's a process which makes us survive in a three-dimensional existence, makes us know when the danger is, makes us to know what we eat, to know how to look after ourselves. It's natural. But that when it becomes attached in a sense of very deep-rooted attachment, then it's very detrimental, because in that deep-rooted attachment, there's always pain, there are always fears, there are always worries, anxiety, and so on. So it is important to look at how attachment come about. And I go to another statement of Ram Dass here regarding identification and what part the ego plays in all this.
Saying that oneself is I or me is ego. The sense that one is an individual is what is meant by ego. Ego is ignorance, which means having attachment to the sense of an independent I. When attachment is given up, there is unity with that which is unattached. This is the authority of the attainment of that which is without imagination. When one does not know oneself, it is called ignorance. When ignorance is removed by self-knowledge, one realizes oneself as Parabrahman, God. Understand that body identification is not important in Parabrahman, God. There, the sense of I has no place. Brahman is said to natural, existing at all times, pure wisdom, beyond everything, permanent, and beyond words. Saint Sri Samartha Ramdas.
So here Saint Ram Dass clear identifies the ego being the main producer of attachments. So the main two attachments which it points us is the identification of me being the body and me being the mind, and there's nothing else. And even if there is, and I believe in something beyond the body and the mind, still this ego will not allow me to touch that, because as evil is found in matter, as Saint Anthony has pointed out, is that ego is also matter, and also obstruction in finding that reality which is beyond matter, but which makes matter manifest. So it's imperative to understand how ego works. It's imperative, how Ram Dass has pointed out also, that unless we know our true nature, we cannot progress towards that which is unity, which is a part of everything, and it doesn't have duality. It uses duality in this three-dimensional existence and maybe other existences, but it's not affected by that dualistic view. So we need to look at those things, how our body works. What is a body? 10 minutes ago, the speaker is not the same speaker which speaks now, because millions of cells in the body have died, and millions of cells in the body have resurrected and been born. So my body is not different from it's different, from 10 minutes ago. And so is my mind. The thoughts which I have 10 minutes ago and the thoughts which I have at the present moment are not the same. So also the mind is not the same. So who am I? Who is in me that is permanent? What is in me that is a part of that intelligible force which St. Anthony refers to, that intelligence of God, of the souls? That intelligence doesn't need thought to operate. It can operate without thought. But thought can never operate without intelligence. So thought always operates in the field of intelligence. You see, you might be very knowledgeable, which one has the capacity to acquire knowledge because of the intelligence. But knowledge can never affect intelligence. So intelligence is an energy which is integral, and it's not my intelligence or yours. Even an ant has it, even a leaf has it, and even a rock has it. But their capacity to manifest that intelligence, it's limited by the hardware they have. Now, it is the ego, which is called ignorance also, which stops us from seeing reality as it is, not as we wish to be. Because the ego always will project a reality which he or she would like to experience. So we, in fact, projecting our own realities. And by living in those realities, we have pain, because the reality which we project will never ever, or very rarely, be aligned with the true reality. So we have two wills in ourselves: the will of God, the will of life, the will of love. And our own personal will, which is personal will of the ego. So if we run our lives through the personal will, we always get in mischief, in trouble, and we always produce suffering for ourselves and others. But if one can actually drop that personal will and only follow the universal will, then that person has touch intelligence, has flow with intelligence. That person's life will be full of love, and that love will give you a direction which is not a direction in itself, but it's an opening to everything, to the unknown. The opening to the known, it's ego. The opening into the unknown, it's not ego, because ego can only survive in the known, in what you know, in the information, in the past. He cannot survive in the present. He is either in the past or he is in the future. So sometimes we live our life looking at our memories, trying to change them and project them in the future, how we like to change ourselves. And therefore we are caught in that illusionary mind where we play with images, with structures of images about ourselves, about others, about how we project our life. And we are so much caught in that bubble that we cannot see reality as it is. In true reality, you don't work with images. You only see what it is at the moment it is, without judgment, without thinking. And that's pure intelligence. That's pure being. That's pure awareness, which we talked about before. So I have a son, and he's run amok since maybe he was 13, until 27. He's been in prison, he's been in drugs, he's done everything. And I been attached to him because he is my son. And therefore I wanted to change him in good, what I think for him is good. But you see, what I think is good for him comes from the personal will, and what the universe and God, whatever intelligence, think of what he has to go through in life, it's very different from what I think it should be. Now, if one drops the personal will and goes with the universal will always do the right thing by the son, by the daughter, by whoever has a mental problem and mental anguish, or whatever problem the children have these days. So supports the child, but see the reality that the child is caught in attachment to drugs, through sex, through whatever, through being smoking, and in whatever one might be caught in. So the moment you go with the universal will, you still are able to help the son and actually help him or her better, because you're not attached to that person. You're not attached to the son or the daughter. So being non-attached, you can see what it is for what it is, not for what you would like to be. And then the real help, the real action, the right action will be there and then. And you will act at the moment you need to act. It is not easy to explain such a state unless one lives in that state. And how do we achieve such a state? The bad news, there's not a how. There's not a technique which will propose you in that state. There's not a mantra or anything which can take you there. Not even any religion will take you there. The only thing which is more likely to take you there, it's your awareness of everyday existence, awareness of every thought, being aware of every action. Allow yourself to flow with life and not against life. So doing so, you will then act with intelligence, where thought it's only employed when it's needed, not thought it's taking control of the situation. So the masters of the past have explained and show how we attach, how we think that the body and the material world is everything, but it's not. It is only a temporary reality. It is still real, but it's not a permanent reality. And the moment you are attached to material things, to person, to people, to your car, to your house, to what you love to do, to ideas, countries, flags, and beliefs, all these attachments are coming because fears. They are coming because of this desire to be incorporated into a society which gives you a sense of security. But there's no security in something like that, because society and life, it's always in a continuous transformation. Nothing in the universe on the matter is always changing. Matter is always in a continuous transformation. So what is there which is permanent? That permanency cannot be explained, cannot be found, cannot be given to another. That permanency can only be found in a right living, in that awareness of your own being, in a awareness of your actions. So slowly, if one is aware of their actions, of their doing, one is aware of their own being, that you are not apart from the unity of life, you are a part of it. So you are an integral living being. The whole universe is a living being. It's not a static matter. So matter, even if it appears that is matter, it's still not matter, it's still energy. It's still driven by that very subtle energy which runs the whole universe, the light. We call it the light, the clear light of wisdom. So wisdom is the knife which cuts through ignorance. Once you cut through the ignorance, slowly, reading from books of wisdom, listening to people which are wise, which have walked the road of detachment from the worldly care, then slowly you will awaken in you that wisdom which is in Christ, the wisdom of the Buddha, the wisdom of Krishna, Rama, and all the masters which have appeared on earth in order for us to learn from that wisdom and connect with that wisdom. First one learns, secondly then connects, and then the wisdom then awakes in you energies which then will drive you to the right path, will drive you to the right action, and will make you free. It will de-robotize yourself from the conditioning which has been imposed on us, on our minds for millennium. So in the videos to come, we'll talk about self-knowledge, because self-knowledge is the most important factor in helping us touching the true reality, touching God, or whatever you want to name that reality, because it cannot be named and it cannot be explained, it cannot be painted. It is something which only can be lived by each one of us. And the more we touch that energy which is in us ourselves, the more we live a life in harmony and in love, and life will become heaven on earth, will become nirvana, as Buddha said. So if we want to get there, we need only to put the effort in observing ourselves in everyday life. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I wish you a blissful day, and I'll meet you at the next video where we'll talk about self-knowledge. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.